of what you are contributing towards the economy and towards the national exchequer, as well as towards employment and labor and the expansion you are obviously all the time planning to do. I am impressed by what was mentioned regarding the Gujranawala Chamber of Commerce and Industry, by the number of small and medium enterprises as well as the big industries which you have. By the way, Razak Daud sir, weren't you supposed to be speaking before me? That would have given me more material to speak. But I forgot about it, otherwise I would have requested you to be here first. The biggest issue in Pakistan today, I think a number of issues Pakistan has gone beyond its potential in achieving, and if you look at the fact that we have achieved security, we are the only country in the region which has been able to combat all the terrorism, etc., have established security, and the result is that one of the awardees here who belong to the hotel industry, there's a remarkable change happening there. And sometimes people don't wait for the government to come over. I'm sure today the government is making a major effort to encourage businessmen to contribute. But I have remembered all my life that the businessman comes in, or the trader who comes in, or the people who study hard to go into professions do that for the fact that they want to improve their livelihood, to improve their investment capability, and to secure their future generations. So business goes on, and the government, and the effort of the government is exactly almost like a traffic cop to make sure that the traffic flows smoothly, to increase the ease of doing business, to make it more conducive for businessmen to work, not stopping them. And the interest of the government, therefore, in the entire thing is that it should be able to tax, because the responsibility of every state, keep that in mind in the world, the responsibility of every state is to be a cop as far as the traffic is concerned, but then those who have made money, who have achieved something, to be able to bring the population in the lower strata up to that level. So it taxes the rich and gives the taxes, and invests in the poor, and invests in the people who are not able to compete, and then gradually make sure that they have adequate health, adequate education, and then equal opportunities. So this responsibility of the state is to make equality for every subsequent generation. So you are free to expand, you're free to enrich yourselves. Enriching yourself is not a crime. You're free to enrich yourselves, to make yourselves prominent in society, but then the role of the government is in that context. The current account deficit, I think, is a major achievement of this government. From $19 billion, it has gone down to $13 billion. But I understand the stresses in economy. Loans have been taken, a lot of problems this government has inherited, and this government's efforts now is to able to stabilize the economy, and the pinch which you are feeling right now is because of the efforts of stabilization. If you don't stabilize the economy, what happens? Every year you will be in a crisis. Every year you will be in a crisis that the trade deficit is huge. What happens? Where do the dollars come from? The fact that the government is not able to spend in development, where does the money would come from? So therefore, I believe the efforts of this government, for example, in the role of improving the role of the private sector, trying to improve the ease of doing business. And I'm sure every year there's a rating system which happens, and I wish good luck. There have been efforts, and I hope the world recognizes that, and the ranking of Pakistan in ease of doing business would improve. And from what I hear, it has been recognized. The effort of the government is also on reducing the cost of doing business. That will not happen immediately, because what has happened for a period of time, the government is making an effort to document the economy. I've met a number of delegations from all the chambers of commerce and industry, number of traders, the small traders, and all of them, when they come forward, make a singular statement, and I'm sure you agree with that, that the trading community and the exporters and the manufacturers, everybody does want to pay tax. There's no, I've never heard from anybody that they don't want to pay tax. So what is the issue? The issue is, and I have comments which I will message to you, Mr. Advisor. I have comments that the government should make it easy, should not make it difficult. So one of the requests was that the form should be in Urdu. That is understandable. The other was to defer certain decisions for a later date. And I gave them an example every time that the newspapers in 1955 were talking about the same issues as the newspapers today. So that means that the phase one, which was never completed, has been there for the last 70 years. So the phase one has been decided by this government to be closed this year. So you will go into phase two in the future. So what is the problem? That the delegations can come and talk to the minister here, advisor here, and talk to the government, to the FDR, to the finance minister, that reduce our taxes. That's a genuine demand. They can always demand that. But the fact that you, and I'm sure you're not asking for that, when you say that you don't document the economy, is what the traders, the responsible people have never said. But they have said that make it easier for us to fulfill the forms. We should not have a tax lawyer, for example. We should not have a tax machinery, which is an expensive venture, to sit down and advise us every year on how to fill out those tax reforms. So reforms in FBR are essential. There is always news which comes in Pakistan, and you're not surprised by the fact that somebody would come and say, every new law, every new tax makes it easier. When about 10-15 years ago, there was, because of the situation in Karachi, there was a law passed that the motorcycle riders cannot have a double sawari. And as soon as the law passed, from the next day, you know who gained most was the policeman on the street who got benefit of all the law, and he used to get all the bribes in that. So when strict laws are made, the discretion of the tax people or the FDR people has to be written down, has to be precisely monitored. So that is what bothers the business community. So I believe the reforms in FDR, which you are going ahead with, Mr. Dawood, would be a very important factor in getting the business community and everybody the confidence in the government that the taxes we pay, number one, the taxes we pay are going to the right government where there is less corruption. I am saying less corruption because in the world there is a lot of corruption in almost every government. That's in human nature. But by systems, countries are able to manage and control corruption. So I have seen Pakistan such a philanthropic nation, remarkable. You people give so much to charity. I think it is no less than any nation in the world. That is important. But why you give charity to Eidhi and you give charity to Shaukat Khanam and you close your eyes and give charity? And let me tell you, in my life, I have never had a problem collecting money for a good cause. Never in my life. I can promise you that. But what is there? What happens is the credibility of an organization which is going for. Mr. Razak Dawood, I have known him for quite some time. He was one of the initial board of directors of Shaukat Khanam.